You cannot sell to someone from the low status position. Does not work. Stop saying please and thank you so much.
Maybe just give the folks sort of an overview of what I feel is an incredibly solid and effective persuasion strategy.
But where all the tactics stem from is you have to have one.
Hello and welcome to the Perpetual Traffic Podcast. This is your host, Ralph Burns, founder and CEO of Tier 11, alongside my amazing co-host,
Lauren E. Petrillo, the founder of Mongoose Media.
So glad you joined us here today. And if you are a VP of marketing, director of marketing, CMO, somebody who's doing your digital marketing or just a doer of digital marketing, today's show is for you because you probably know how to market if you've listened to 700 plus episodes of this show here, but you probably don't know how to sell as well as you probably could. And that is not necessarily selling products. That's also selling ideas. My dad once said this. He was an artist, by the way, Lauren. He said, it's really important to know how to sell because really in life, you are selling everything from your ideas to your products to how you win an argument, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a skill you should learn. And
yes,
when I came out of college, because I had basically just a marketing background and no contacts, I got into sales. And ever since then, I've been learning how to perfect it. And this guy's book, which I read, who was on today's show, I can't believe we got him to come on. And literally, I don't know, you're a friend of Scott DeGracier, which I can't believe, we have that sort of common connection here. We have got, I hate to say it because I've read so many sales books.
You got to sell it now. You have no choice.
Pitch Anything is like the best sales book I've ever read. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to piss off Tom Hopkins, who I did, learn how to sell through him. But he's now come out with another book called Flip the Script. Got him here on Perpetual Traffic here today. So this is a real treat for us. Welcome to Perpetual Traffic, Oren Klaff.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Ralph and Lauren. I appreciate being here. And what a warm welcome. Let's make it. The welcomes are nice at the beginning of the show. Let's see if you could say the same thing in 45 minutes.
Well, the thing that I was asking you before, how do you want to be introduced? Because you're a best-selling author, 2 books, but, you've raised $400 million. You have an IQ of
half of the things he listed on his resume for that one, but okay.
That's true. But you manage money for 400 families, which is something to be proud of. That's an amazing achievement unto itself. The books are probably what we're going to be talking about here today, because probably those skills helped raise the funds in order to help all those 400 families. And you've written 2 books, obviously, Pitch Anything, which we'll leave links in the show notes. If you haven't read this, you got to read it or listen to it on audio. And then you just came out with a new book, Flip the Script, recently. And maybe just give the folks sort of an overview of what the whole idea behind Pitch Anything is. And then maybe we can talk about the second book and then how they kind of merge together and how those ideas really help formulate what I feel is an incredibly solid and effective persuasion strategy, I would say. I wouldn't even say it's like a sales tactic because we're not talking about spin selling here. It's a way to persuade and to sort of control the conversation. And I think these books do a tremendous job with it. So maybe just give us an overview of Pitch Anything to start.
I think it's important to sort of understand what an author is too when you go to pick up and read a book. I look at sales guys who have 17 books or 13 books or 8 books. When I was writing Pitch Anything, I had a very good, well-known, a friend of mine, well-known screenwriter, wrote Collateral Damage, who wrote The Hunted, with Nagasaki Deadline, wrote movies you would have seen in the theater. What happens is when you get a book contract, you talk to your friends, you go on podcasts, you sort of make outlines, and eventually your agent calls and she goes, "Can I see chapter 1 and 2?" You're like, and then you start writing chapter 1 and 2, you send in, and they're like, "This is not that, we want a book, not a white paper or some random thoughts." So just because you can read and just because you can talk does not mean you can write a book. You should ask about that. Stephen King. All right. So writing is something different. And so I called on my buddy, David Griffith, and I said, "David, I finally started writing. I wrote 2,000 words today. I'm going to have the book done by the end of the month." And he goes, "Oren, that's amazing. You wrote 2,000 words today?" I go, "Yes, David. I swear to God, I did. 2,008 words." He goes, "Go back and read them."
Yeah.
Writing for real writers, Stephen King, guys who do quality writing, is about 150 through the annals of history, is about 150 to 250 words a day. You ain't writing 13 books in 3 years that are real books. So Pitch Anything is a real book. And one of the issues is a real book has everything in it that is you. This is why it's really hard to write 13 books, right? You know, if you're not a professional, right? If you're a sales guy, if you're a marketer, if you're a business guy, there's not 13 yous that have come into existence in 5 years. There's one. So most of the great books, there's one of. The movies too. Saw 1, Blair Witch Project 1, the one where they go to Las Vegas and Mike Tyson and they get a tiger.
Oh, The Hangover.
Hangover 1. Hangover 3 was not good. Hangover, was there a
Hold
Hangover
on.
4?
But Rush Hour had a great trilogy.
Rush Hour. Okay.
Rush Hour.
Exception to the rule.
I don't have a time machine that goes back that far. I'm just kind of talking about the modern era. But the Pleistocene age,
Post dinosaurs.
Shots fired.
a creative endeavor encompasses all of you, right? And that's why the books that you love, Tom Hopkins, book, which you mentioned, the sales books, the marketing books, there's one of that's great is because it has everything that's in the life of that person, and that person doesn't have 2 lives. Now they will get a second life, which I wrote about and flipped the script in, 10 years later after having, a number 1 book for 10 years. A lot of things changed, got deeper, got richer, new insights. But you want to look at that author and what did they really put into the book? And why did they get into writing a book? I had an inflection point that led me to this. The guy I wrote about in the book, who I called Jonathan, is a real guy. I didn't write about this at all. We were in a deal and I needed the closing fee on it. The guys that we were selling the deal to were being very difficult, right? And they kept asking questions and wanting more information and not closing. And it was a couple $1 million wire. So back then it was before Gmail. You just had Microsoft and it would ding when your email ran. It ding, right? And we're tracking this deal. We're trying to close it. I really need the commission. Jonathan sent an email to everybody. 15 people copied on it. The subject line, all caps, 3 words, lose my number in the middle of a deal. And where I came from, like nobody talks to anybody like that. I came from, my dad was a college professor. Both my parents are academics. I went to, very conservative institutions and I worked in very conservative banks. So an all caps email to 15 people in the middle of a deal that says, lose my number is like, this is done, right? There's no reality in which this is moving another millimeter down the road. And then ping, 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 ping. And I'm expecting all the FU, deal done. And all I start seeing is, we're sorry. Sorry, Jonathan. Didn't mean to be. And the deal closed 10 minutes later. And I said, what alternate universe am I in? And then I started noticing that, he had the ability to really is never be needy. And what I learned there is neediness kills deals. So how can you both be selling somebody and needing something and wanting something and needing the commission or needing the traffic or needing the relationship, and at the same time wanting it, loving it, being enamored with it, desiring it, and fundamentally in your DNA, maybe economically actually needing it, but not needing it at all. And living in that space became the meaning of my life, learning how to live in that gray area with wanting something with my heart and desire and mind more than anything else, but not wanting it at all.
I think that's the hardest part of sales, in my opinion, because you always want the sale, but if you come across, and I remember just coming across that concept and Pitch Anything, and then obviously, and it shows up in Flip the Script as well, is like that idea, and then trying to teach that to like my sales teams. And it's the hardest thing. And you gave an example in Flip the Script where you go out to North Dakota and you try and teach people how to do this for, I forget the name of it. It's like a cool motorcycle.
GP Star, real company.
Yeah.
GP Star.
And I was like, how the hell? And you didn't really say like how you did it. They just started selling more. I'm like, how did he figure out how to do that? And everybody's been in this situation where it's like, so what do you think? Like trial closes, always be closing, like all of that sort of bull crap that we learned in sales school. It's like, it's the opposite is true. And I'm teaching my sales teams now in my own business how to do it. And they're like, I'm amazed that this actually works. But then they fall back into these same old traps. Like, how do you do that? Because that's like a theme throughout both books, which I think is super important to comprehend.
I think there's a 101 just like college, there's a 101, a 102, a 103, a 201, and then graduate level work. So maybe I'll give you some insight onto, the various levels. I've taught 80,000 people from stage these couple of techniques. So I know because they'll come back the next day or that afternoon and they go, I just closed a $300,000 account. I did that yesterday at work. I did it. I got my self-respect back. That's greatness. Whether make the money, close deals or not. But if somebody doesn't have to live in fear of clients and accounts and sales managers and can live knowing that they ended the day with grace, poise, self-respect, left it all in the field and let it all work itself out. That to me is an amazing gift. And I think it starts here. Stop fucking saying please and thank you so much. And I'll tell you why. There's nothing wrong with please and thank you. And I'm sorry. I myself say I'm sorry twice a year.
Twice a year? Christmas and your partner's birthday.
Maybe not that often, but it sounds good on a podcast. I don't want to say zero. It sounds really.
Are you about to apologize for lying? Did we get our one for the year?
I will say, Lauren, I appreciate how you feel. I can understand that it's miserable. I mean, misery. This is what I will tell sales prospects at this point. Lauren, let me tell you how it all ends. The sun burns out and human civilization goes away. All right. So before that happens, let's try and figure out how we're going to do this together. The reason we got to stop saying please, sorry, and thank you is there's nothing wrong with those. You cannot modulate it. So unless you just take it away completely, you're just going to use those fillers for emotional dopamine pings. You'll get some. The reason you do it is you get something for it. You get attention. Please. Thank you. I'm sorry. Gives you points in the game. You're trying to win points. You're trying to win commissions, right? You're bing, right? Oh, I just got another couple points in the game. This call continues.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's so true because there are times where I've been like, just apologize. Just gosh dang it, like apologize. Like I don't understand. Like it will help you so much more from my ego's perspective for someone to admit that they were wrong. I'm like, just apologize. But yeah, I'm 100% keeping score.
As a young salesperson, Ralph can't modulate those words. And those words are supplication. And when you say please, thank you, and I'm sorry to a sales prospect, they know that they have the high status position in a relationship.
The power.
Number two. So if that's 101, and I'll give you a way to make that happen. If you get on a call, give me an example of salespeople that you work with and who they get on a call with.
The habit I always first break is thank you so much for meeting with us. It's like it's the first mistake. I think, thank you so much for taking the time.
Give me the setup. Who is the salesperson? Who is the client? What are the stakes? What's the size of the deal?
Average size deal for us is about $250,000 a year ARR. And it's a sales prospect in the e-commerce niche. And, it's a sought after like beauty brand that probably a lot of agencies are coming after. And the first thing that the salesperson wants to say is, thank you so much for taking the time to meet us.
Got it. I'm going to fix that right now. That's good because it's a good high stakes sale. Who's the buyer? Who's typically on the line?
It's usually the director of digital, the director of marketing, something like that. So it's not usually the CEO at that level, but sometimes it can be. They'll bring them in every now and then, but usually, it's somebody who reports to somebody else for sure.
Self-entitled, high status, feels that they have the control in the relationship, feels like the power in the relationship belongs to them, right? 19 out of times, those guys come to the Zoom or the phone call a few minutes late. Fair?
Oh, absolutely. Every single time.
Yes.
Just like I do. Except today.
100% of the time, I will say, hey, Ralph, are you here for the 12:35 meeting? Because the 12:30 meeting is just starting to get going and might even wrap up.
Small acts of defiance.
Are you here for the 12:35 meeting?
That's bold.
That's good.
So this scares young people to say it. So unfortunately, I go to meetings yesterday, guys who manage billion-dollar funds, multiple times, billionaires, definitely guys worth 20, 30, 40, $150 million. I've helped people sell multiple companies, where they walked away with $100, $130 million. I deal with people who are self-enamored, self-empowered, feel like they have the alpha position in every deal, no matter what. And they always come to calls late. And I always go, hey, Jim, you here for the 9:13 meeting? And guess what they always say? Always, I'm sorry.
Oh, bad.
Now it just went backwards. I reversed gravity. Now you're apologizing to me, and this is set up correctly.
That was your wicked moment defying gravity.
So that's 101, 102. Stop saying sorry, please.
Stop saying sorry, but potentially prompt them to say sorry is sort of the 102.
Listen, this is why, because in our culture, everybody understands the value of time. Billionaires understand the value of time, even if you are the guy doing the valet. They book the valet, for 3 p.m. They show up at 3:05. The valet guy goes, "Hey, I've been waiting for you." The first thing I'm going to say, I'm sorry. That's our culture. Timeliness is one of the most respected early signals of having a quality value system that matches in with our Judeo-Christian political social culture that we have here in America. People who don't understand the value of time don't go far in our system. It's just how we work. I don't know how they do it in Scandinavia. I don't know how they do it in Nicaragua. That's how we do it here. As they said in Iron Man, it worked pretty good for Dad, worked pretty good for me, and that's how the government does it. Introducing the Jericho. Yeah.
But you didn't like the second and third one, though, because it was just one out of them.
Yes.
By the way, Oren is the first guest we've ever had in 700 some odd episodes who was a minute early. And as was I was 3 minutes early. But that unto itself, you set the frame. Like, is that the first sort of step for...
That is setting the frame.
Everyone says frame selling. That's what Oren Klaff teaches. He teaches frame selling. I'm like, well, okay, what is it?
Let me take it a little bit further for your guys. Mm-hmm. So what you're trying to do is you are taking a very, very, very high status person and you are reducing their status to below yours. This is not game theory, although it is game theory. It is not Machiavellian. It is not intended to hurt people or malign people. But here is the reality. If somebody has higher status than you, they have some physical things that happen in your body when you have high status. One, you don't listen well to the low status person that's talking to you. Number two, you take risks with them that you would not take with somebody that is higher status than you. Of course, risks, they're not medieval risks, but, they will, oh, hey, sorry. Yeah. Oh, really? No, the ahi pokey is fine.
For those listening, you can't see that he's now taking a phone call, ordering bad fish.
No. That's right. Ordering sushi in the middle of a perpetual traffic episode. Yeah. Anyway, but got it.
When you're trying to get your kid into the Harvard prep school and you're sitting there with the president and the dean of admissions, right? Your phone is on. You're the lower status party, and your phone is on off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even in the room potentially. It's in a bag in the coat check.
If it's not on off, your wife is going to turn it into an underwater phone in the women's bathroom. All right. You are not taking any risk. So when somebody views themselves as having more power than you, higher status than you, they don't listen to you well. They will take risks around you, and they will discount the things you say, even if you're an expert in it, to where their own opinion on something they know nothing about will have more weight than yours. You have got to lower somebody's status down to yours or below yours just so they can listen to you. You cannot sell to someone from the low status position. Does not work. And so you've got to bring their status into alignment with yours. Now, there are tactics for doing that, and we can talk about that for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 9 hours, whatever. But where all the tactics stem from is you have to have a value system that you are anchored to. And I think I did write about that in Flip the Script. If there is a perception that you don't stand for anything other than money, you will occupy the low status position and sell from discounts. Mm-hmm. So I would love for you guys to attend some of my calls. I'll be on a $3 million investment. I have 3 guys on the thing. They have their CFO on the call, and he'll be going like this. And I'll go, hey, Matt, Lauren, they're looking at the phone. I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing? Like, we're together for 30 minutes, right? If you don't have time for calls, don't book them, right? Look at me. I came to this call. I have a $2 million facility, in which I schedule this call. I've got an operator, who operates this call. I take this very seriously. If you don't have half an hour, right? Who are you? I don't know who you people are, right? Mm-hmm. How am I going to take $3 million from you? Now, there's the key, Ralph. Mm. How am I going to take $3 million from you if I don't know who you are or why you do things? And so you don't Now, if I asked you, what's your value system? You tell me, like, what do you believe in?
Me?
Yeah.
I believe in all the stuff that I repeat to my kids, which is do the right thing, be a good person, honest, all that sort of stuff.
I was like, I've got my two.
This is a setup. You're just going to read me the Bible. Okay.
Right.
What? No.
It's not an answer I would typically give. I would give like the watered down version unless we like really got into it.
You're just going to, so you as a young salesperson or a sales manager or if somebody wants to sell, not marketing, you have to figure out what you believe in, not what's in the Bible, not don't bang your neighbor's wife, not don't, feed your kid chocolate before bed. What do you believe in? And those become your boundaries. And those boundaries are the safest thing in the world to have honesty about. Because if somebody's outside your boundaries, then you're not going to do a deal with them anyway.
For sure.
And what I seek in a transaction that raises my status and lowers the other person is when they say weird stuff, which the buyer always will, especially the more experienced you are with buyers in your industry, they will say something weird, right? I'll give you an example. If you're dealing with a big company, they'll ask for a discount. Hey, we're Microsoft, right? Hey, we represent a big purchase. We always ask for our vendors. What are you talking about, right? You're saying we're a big company. We have, hold on, let me see. Oh, you have $128 billion in cash, right? We're a 9-person company. And you're saying that you want a tiny company to give you a discount for no other reason than you can control them, right? And so when you have power, what you do is you exert your control. Is that what you're saying? How would that feel if we have all your data, right? And then you call in on the weekend and we go, hey, we have all the power. You need some data sorting, over the weekend. It's $50,000 out of your account, or you can wait till Tuesday. How would you, right? Why in the world would Microsoft, who has the ability to pay for this, want us to? Because if we discount this, we can't do customer service properly. We can't buy AI properly. We set this pricing because we have a gross margin in that. Like this is, if you guys want to do a business deal, let me know. If you just want to stomp around saying we're Microsoft and we want a discount, let me know. I'll give you another example. It's always a case where you see the final boss in a deal. You're doing a negotiation, $250,000 contract, so, right? Everybody's agreed to it. You're in the final negotiation. What happens is somebody you never heard of, has not been in any of the meetings, has never been mentioned, it shows up and goes, hey, what's going on here? Like, we do this all the time, but we need a 15% discount in order to go forward with it. The final boss. It's in every video game, but it's also in every negotiation. And so if you have a belief system and a value system that says this is atrocious, to have your executives negotiate for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks on a $250,000, $500,000 thing, everybody signed off, literally have a DocuSign circulating, and then somebody you've never met before stomp in and go, I can't approve this without getting a discount. And so what I will always do, and maybe this is 201, I'll say, hey, John, great, you're done, right? So a couple things going on here. One, right, this is just your guys' negotiation strategy, and this is like a goofy thing you guys do. You found that it works over time, and you just do it, all right? No problem, great respect. You pull the performance. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not going to work here, right? So either it's a performance that you guys do, and it has worked in the past, and you get 15, 20% off for just, you never get, and you guys have a belief system that says you never get anything you don't ask for. So you just come in and ask for it. But I'm just telling you, that's goofy. This is the real world. Or there's another option, is this is like the real you as a company and yourself. And you guys take up 30, 40 hours of our time. We have a contract going back and forth. We have 5 people working on this. We've been to 7 meetings. We honestly disclose our price, disclose our service. You guys shopped it a little bit. Your executives came together, right? And then at the last minute, after all that work has been done, relationship, trust, ideas, exposure, risk have been put in place. And then you show up at the last minute, right? And you, add chaos, disingenuity, and break trust. And if that's who you really are, just tell me. And we will pack our stuff, and you can go use India.com, and get it in China or India, right? Or somewhere else. But that is not how we build a relationship. And these deals don't work without relationships.
So much of these books it's counterintuitive because in the sales process, I'm just speaking like whether you're pitching or whether you're selling, it's like you don't ever want to be the supplicant, but everyone wants to be liked and is so afraid of upsetting the prospect. Because, if I upset them, then they won't buy. When in fact, the opposite is true. It's like you talk about small acts of defiance, but doing it sort of a snarky way or maybe a humorous way, or, take the moral high ground and stick to it and be like, wait a second, what are you talking about? Like we have a signed contract. Who's this guy coming in and going 15, like calling bullshit when you see it? Like no salesperson I've ever seen, with the exception of maybe one or two, will actually respond to it the way that most normal humans would, because like the sales interaction is like in this completely different world almost, where it's like, everybody's just trying to be nice to the other one, and somebody's on the high ground and somebody's on the lower ground, and you're like completely trying to reverse that in so many different methodologies.
I may have a solution that'd be difficult to use, but just so you know it exists and you can use it, I will say in the middle of a sale, or a capital raise, Ralph, and this way, if you've read Pitch Anything, this will be very counterintuitive to you. I don't want to scare you. Let me get all the way through it. Ralph, I love you. I love you. You're amazing.
He's blushing.
I want to work with you.
Yep.
I want to add you to our Christmas card list. I want to work with you. I hope we get in proximity. If you're like my other customers, we get to know each other a little bit, and sometimes we take vacations together. And I actually am very excited about doing this transaction together. You can have my phone number. You can have my backup phone. You can fax us on the weekend. I love you for the moment. Unfortunately, because of the nature of our business, I have 37 other Ralphs to get to. But for the moment, we have each other right now.
We're in embrace.
Right? And we can I'm happy for you to say, because they're trying to book me for another Ralph, but I'm here. I'm focused on what you need. I'm focused on this agreement. I'm working hard right now to make this relationship. No problem. You can say, hey, Oren, your head is full of dead insects. Okay. Let me off this call as quickly as possible. Or, Oren, I feel the same way as you. There's a transaction here, right? We can figure it out with the time we have together. This is a start of something amazing. Let's make it happen. So, Ralph, what should we be doing together?
I think we should hang out, really.
Making something amazing.
Yes, making something amazing. Should go ride motorcycles together. I'm enamored.
How dare you leave me out? How dare you leave me out?
Lauren, I don't even know who she is. So, like, your point is you can go in either direction.
You have to. It comes back to the same thing. Yogi Berra said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. And this, if we are anywhere on this call for the lost selling souls of the marketing people who are trying to get into selling, it is this. There has to be consequences on the call. If there are no consequences, it's not a sales call. It's an exchange of information. It's due diligence. If there are no consequences, right? So for many calls, I would say, listen, right? I came here with everything. We got together. You've got some timing problems. You have all this goofy stuff that you're talking about, right? Are things. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you work with Cassandra. Okay. She's new here.
Why are you laughing at Cassandra? Hold on. She's new. She's learning.
She's new here. She just moved out from intern, right? She's an associate. She's finding her way around, but you ask her for information. She'll be able to get you information. You work with Cassandra with all your questions and the stuff you need. When you are ready to get into the big boy sandbox, right? Jump back in and let's see if we can get real. All right. We'll figure it out. But in the meantime, Cassandra's going to take care of everything you need. And so now you're taking away the toys. Now, if you have framed yourself up as an expert, somebody has access to technology, to a deal, to pricing, to everything, you have to be able to take yourself away. But now you don't want to go, hey, I'm not going to talk to you anymore until you get real. You right? That is the status push. You go down to Cass, who just moved up from intern to associate. She's going to take care of everything you need. That's where you merit that, right? You have been measured, and you measured up to work with an associate. When you want to move up and work with the real guys, come with some game. But right now, you don't have game, and I'm busy. And so you don't lose it. There's consequences. Or, hey, the consequences are you don't have to sign the contract. You don't have to get a DocuSign. But what I say, if it makes sense that we move forward together and work hard to make this thing happen, then let's set up the next call. We'll exchange a little information and we'll go deeper. Ralph, I will not work harder on your business than you will. I have to see some effort on your side.
Can I just copy and paste that message into like past conversations I've had with people where we have to like say like, we cannot be more passionate about growing your business than you are. Like that's our disclosure where if we're chasing you for this, it will never work. Every time I had a client that didn't work, I wish I could have said that verbatim.
I don't think, Lauren, the Navy SEALs are like a secret training anymore. If you watch a 6-second video, they got Navy SEALs and they carry a big log. All right. Have you ever seen like 2 Navy SEALs on one side of the log and the other side of the log just magically carrying itself? This is a heavy log. You're called your business. You have to.
I'm just like, are these topless Navy SEALs? Hold on. This matters on how I'm imagining this 6 step.
Yeah.
Sandy and Sweaty, the first investor in the large company I have now is a Navy SEAL. And I know these guys really well. So listen, Lauren, Ralph, you guys have a problem, right? We solve that problem. That's what we do all day long. We've solved it for 250 people, just like you. This is what we do, right? You guys have backed yourself up. You made bad decisions. You got inadequate software. You hired the wrong people. You went through a couple of consultants. You got yourself into a crappy place. All right. We solved this problem. Like we don't have this problem. You have it. I don't have it. You have it. Not only do you have it about as bad as it gets. What I mean by that is if this problem gets any worse over there, we're not even interested in helping you because it's too hard. But today, this is something we do. You have to be committed to, this is a hard problem. But you have to be committed to solving it. I will not work harder on your business than you will. What sense is that? I don't own equity in it. I don't get paid by it. I don't get to go on the Christmas party. If you guys sell the company, I don't get to go to NASDAQ and sell. I get nothing. All I do is get a paltry $250,000 annually, in which I have 30% gross margin, 5% net margin. That's what I get. Hard fucking work. Do you know how SaaS software works? When we win this account, you think like we're popping a cork, right? People are like, oh crap, you signed another one of those? I'm like, don't worry, it will turn into something good. I believe in these guys. You aren't giving me anything except hard work and problems. But this is what we do. The vet doesn't go, oh my God, it's Lauren's ostrich again. It goes, fuck it, we prefer to get kittens. But now we got another ostrich. We're a vet. That's what we do. We're sworn to the code of helping people who have problems. That's what we do. I will help you out. And then we got to talk about the price.
Gosh, this felt so much like sales therapy.
You're just
I'm like,
you have said all this in all your calls, Lauren.
I do not recommend this. And it's not all, you have to been in cycle hundreds of times in order to do it. But I will say, Ralph, come on, just go fuck yourself. Honestly, do you hear yourself? That is not a thing that you're talking about. Like, do you want to actually solve this or you want to do kabuki theater? I have things to do. Listen, I'm trying to figure out the price with you. You know what the price is, all right? It's more than you want to pay. It's less than I want to charge. That's what the price is. Somewhere in the middle is something called fairness. I promise you of one thing. Can't make any, big promises, but I do promise you this. When we go, this is the price, you'll go, that's what I thought. It's completely fair. If you're looking for the one from Malaysia, Vietnam, China, Indonesia, Turkey, go get that one. People solve this in many ways. Women, Lauren, to your point, women have babies all over the world in fields and in huts. You don't have to have it in La Jolla Scripps Hospital. It's the preferred place to do it. If you're like us, we have one kid. We don't have emergency backups, right? That's where we had our kid. But you don't need when I told you I worked out with the Navy SEALs for a long time. When we had our son, she had very long labor. It was like almost 24 hours. Finally, everyone was gone. So it was just the nurse practitioner, to weigh the kid and everything. And my wife was passed out, and I was holding the baby. A doctor, everybody else had cleared out, and then she's weighing the baby, and she goes, "Who wrote on this baby?" Right, and so I
wait, tattooed already.
No, I worked out with this Navy SEAL guy from, in old school, right? From like, Vietnam era. He's like, when you have the baby, you want to make sure to put your name on it so they can't switch it out. Right. So I bring a permanent marker. I write my name and the date, like my signature that nobody else can do on the baby. And she goes, "Who wrote on this baby?" And I'm like, I'm definitely in trouble because it's only my wife and she's sleeping.
This guy. Me
and her are the only people in the room.
One of his "I'm sorry's" came out.
And that was my annual.
That was your one. You only get one.
I was like,
hey, but that's a fair thing to do. Have you seen Chris and Frankie? They talk about like why you should never have your mouth open when a plane flies over you.
Yeah.
And in the show, they said because have you ever had a bunch of feces fall in your face?
Oh my God, I never heard that. But so then she goes, why did you write on the baby? And then, I work out with this guy and he's a Navy. It's like Entourage, the explanations that they would give to, an Entourage. Well, because I work out with the Navy SEAL and he said that they switched the baby out. And she's like, we don't switch babies out. Anyway, all of this ties into one thing. You have to love that account. You have to lean into the account. You have to want the account. You have to admire the account, but you have to hold the account accountable for certain behaviors. What you can do is you can convince them of the features and the benefit and the value proposition and your integrity and your expertise and the track record of your company, and that your information is better than the other person's information and that, but you cannot teach them behaviors that will make it profitable. We sell either a service or a product that comes with a service, or we sell equity. If you are raising money and you take a bad investor with core values that don't align with your own, you will live with the consequence of that decision for the rest of your life. It's so destructive. And I'm sure, Ralph, in your, sales effort in your company, taking a bad customer loses more money than it was ever worth in the first place, from a distraction, from a raw dollars point, from the frustration of the teams. So accountability, it has a twin benefit. One, it stops you from taking a money-losing or problematic customer. And number two, it gives you the non-neediness you're looking for. This is the amazing thing. There's no risk to being non-needy because you're just saying, I have a boundary which I do not go beyond.
Which makes you more desirable, which is the counterintuitive part of it.
Which makes you more desirable. Now, how you do it. Now, you can't, I don't want people leaving this call and going, hey, I have boundaries I don't go beyond. Let me explain them to you. The boundaries come in conversations as you go along. But here, when you see something goofy in the behaviors of the client, if you have ironed out your own belief system, your own values, your own boundary, you just call it out. And you go, why are you saying that? That's super goofy. There's a yellow flag, pink flag, red flag, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes people just say things, I know you want a discount or whatever, but let's use our time together in a way that makes sense. Stop saying that.
Merging that concept with, so after reading Pitch Anything so many different times, or just listening to it once a year for so many years. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, he's got this other book, which is, to your point, it's like, you've got two books. And I'm like, do I really want to read the other one? Because I've already kind of gotten the other one down. And then all of a sudden I'm like, geez, just from the intro, I'm like, getting people to believe that they're making the decision on their own terms. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense too. How do you merge those two worlds together in an effective way?
I think about it like this, and maybe we can start to, happy to do this again. Maybe we start to, wind down, and then we can pick up some tactics, or you can bring. I had a podcast with a guy who has a book called Exactly What to Say. Phil Jones, really nice guy. Are you familiar with the book?
No, but I'm familiar with saying I know exactly what to say.
So I have him on the podcast, and I go, yeah. I go, Phil, let's sell something to each other. Like, let's just invent something, right? This is like a, I forgot what it was, but like just invent a software product right now, right? And then you'll sell it to me using exactly what to say. He's like, well, I kind of like, I have to think about it. I have to understand the product and think about the features and benefits. I'm like, no, we're just going to invent it now. Like, okay, we'll come up with the features, benefits, value proposition. You sell it to me, right? And he's like, yeah, but I didn't have time to really, think about it and what the positioning would be. You wrote a book called Exactly What to Say.
How dare you?
How dare you not know exactly.
And like do a blueprint and write it out.
Did you see the asterisks? Most of the time?
Most of the time,
yeah.
Unless I'm asked by Oren Klaff.
Right. After thinking for a while and waiting for AI to be invented. All right. So I think I would we'd love to do it again, and let's bring situation and do some role playing and go through it. But here's what I want to say. Pitch Anything to me is like when people read it and I talk to them and their reaction to it. I mean, it's taught as a standard in every Fortune 500 company. If you go pitch a deal in Silicon Valley using the Pitch Anything method, they will go, oh, that's an Oren Klaff pitch. It is a standard.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
So I understand what people go through when they get first exposure to Pitch Anything. And it's like you go to your closet and you're like, to get a sweater. And you're like looking in the back of it and you're like, what's that knob? Right? And you pull on the knob and a door opens. You're like, there's fucking Narnia back there. There's like fucking tiger, monsters, and like witches and lions that speak. And you're like, you go into this world and it's magic. And you can suddenly see with Pitch Anything the magic that exists in human relationships when it comes down to buying and selling. That's Pitch Anything. Flip the Script is how to survive in that world. Exactly what to say. Flip the Script as full of things you can say. How do you, once you've entered Narnia, how do you survive, win, and own a kingdom in the land of Narnia and win the game? And that's how I think of the interplay of those two books.
I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess I'm at a loss for words the first time in 700 some odd shows, but this has been amazing because first off, these two books together, if you're a marketer and you don't know how to sell, or you do know how to sell and you think you know how to sell, these books like open up a whole other realm of not even like it's persuasion, but it's human psychology and it's all the different techniques. There's so many different techniques we didn't even talk about here on today's show. But I highly recommend anyone listening to this show to get both of your books, get them on Audible, listen to them over and over again, especially if you're doing any sort of selling or convincing or persuading, because we all are all the time. Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
If you go to orenklaff.com, put your name in, but I send a newsletter out. And what in today's world, the information is free. I don't sell anything. I don't have a course. I just give it all, try and help people. It brings Zig Ziglar, give as much as you can and whatever you need will come, whatever. If you really love something, let it go and it will fly. Just open a fortune cookie and whatever's in there. But if
Wait, you're going from Marie Kondo to Chinese fortune cookies? Like,
right.
And let it go. Crack it open.
It's a hard left turn.
I don't sell a course. I don't need any money from you. I don't need any money at all. What I try and do is help salespeople and marketers understand give you a window into what we're doing at scale that's actually working.
So orenklaff.com, best place to go.
KLAFF.
KLAFF. Yes. We'll leave links to the show notes over at perpetualtraffic.com, of course. And that way you can connect with Oren. It's been awesome having you on here. And I think we could have talked like for another 2 or 3 shows, which, by the way, if you ever want to get back,
let's do it again. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. We should do it in person. We're in SoCal.
All right, Lauren, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah.
No. Lauren's going to swing by Oren's office. That's fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm saying thank you here because I am actually thanking you for coming on.
Thank you.
And it was we put this together super quick. Really appreciate all of the knowledge bombs that you've dropped here today. So like I said, all the links, all the resources we mentioned here are in the show notes over at perpetualtraffic.com. So on behalf of my amazing co-host, Lauren E. Petrullo.
Thank you. And Tal.
Sorry for messing up there at the end. No, I'm just kidding. Till next show. See ya.